We jumped straight into tinfoil hat stuff straight out of the gate in the show.
Yeah, well, how about this one? Let's take it to the lighter note. Did you see Elon's troll to Zuckerberg? Do you like that? Is that
yes.
where he said, "Hey, everything's working over here. How about you?" or something like that?
Yeah, he's discounting the fact that they were down last week. I mean, literally just last week. Like, if you hadn't been down in a year, probably. If you hadn't been down in a year, sure, have at it. But you were just down.
Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm just an AI voice. But here are your real hosts, Kevin Doyle, Paul Bratzlovsky, and Bobby Davis.
Hey everyone, welcome to Not Null, the podcast where we discuss the latest in tech, from AI breakthroughs to VR's new realities. We're glad you could join us this week for our weekly discussion about how technology is reshaping our world. I'm Kevin Doyle, and this week I am joined by Bobby Davis and Paul Bratzlovsky. Coming up in this week's episode, Elon has sued OpenAI. Flying car pre-orders are still a thing. And Microsoft are going to end its Windows 11 Android subsystem. And then we'll wrap up with our null, not null recommendation section. Okay, before we jump into today's stories, yesterday, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, Quest, Threads, the whole thing were down for a couple of hours due to what they are saying is technical issues. That's all they said, technical issues. You guys are both web devs. What does that mean? What happened?
They were hacked.
You think?
Yep.
So in a weird way, I will say this. We have a health provider here on our corporate plan here, and they admitted to ransomware last week. And it was the day before that happened. So we couldn't get into the healthcare accounts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
okay. So do you think this
thing was down?
You think this is related to the AT&T thing from before?
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of this, haven't we? I thought the same thing. I'm like, we've seen a lot recently, and it seems like a technical issue that took the whole thing down for multiple hours just doesn't seem like a technical issue, does it?
So the AT&T was saying some kind of backup, thing or whatever, and someone ran the wrong backup or whatever. I find that hard to believe a company at that scale that it has that one singular point of failure.
Yes,
like that.
That's it.
It's a blanket statement like, yep, we were hacked, but we're not going to admit to it. So that's what it was.
Right.
So we're not lying. Technical issues does technically account for a hack. So we're just not telling you exactly what technical issues. Because I'm thinking, I can't think through what would take the whole thing down that way, but I just don't have enough of an understanding technically about it, to understand, is there one thing that could take that down?
If you say that all your users are in one database and you use one database to service the whole AT&T network.
But surely they don't.
Nobody does that.
No.
At all.
Yeah.
And everything was down yesterday too. Yeah. Facebook, Instagram, Quest, Threads. I was looking at everything Meta-wide. Every one of their platforms were down for about 2 hours.
So at this point, and the reason they're probably not talking about it because it's obviously a state actor. These are state actor level things, and so are we having cyber war 1? I don't know. It seems like we are, and we could be. We could take down stuff, I guess, and it wouldn't get reported because we're not. Right. We don't have news media in China, so maybe we're shutting off. I don't know. Power.
TikTok. China.
TikTok hadn't gone down yet. Notice that one didn't go down.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting. It's like the big three: China, Russia, North Korea. It's like,
Yeah, it's interesting. The timing felt too close to the AT&T thing, and it was too big of a deal and too long of a period of time to be a technical issue, like some kind of account issue or some kind of server issue, or they have redundancies built into all of that. The only thing they don't have redundancies built into is if they get hacked. Right.
And then a lot of times, man, the way we do hiring around here in the US and things like that, these hackers could have been hired. That's the other thing. It may not even be an external attack coming through the firewall. It's just that people work there that
could be.
that just work inside the company and they can just take stuff down. Now, if you work inside the company, you can probably do lots of damage.
Right.
You know? But I mean, we can't prove any of that, but like, too many of them.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. We jumped straight into tinfoil hat stuff straight out of the gate in the show.
Yeah, well, how about this one? Let's take it to the lighter note. Did you see Elon's troll to Zuckerberg? Do you like that? Is that
yes.
where he said, "Hey, everything's working over here. How about you?" or something like that?
Yeah, he's discounting the fact that they were down last week. I mean, literally just last week. Like, if you hadn't been down in a year, probably. If you hadn't been down in a year, sure, have at it. But you were just down. Let's jump into Elon suing OpenAI. So, just this week, Elon Musk is suing OpenAI and Sam Altman for allegedly choosing profits over humanity. And that is a quote. Claiming that OpenAI has failed to keep its promise to develop AI tools to the benefit of humanity. And he's calling this a breach of contract. By the way, a contract that doesn't actually exist, other than they kind of spoke about it, and it was kind of, it's in there. I forgot what he said. It's like it's in their ethos or whatever it is. It's like it's a given that it exists, that they were going to do it this way, and we agreed on it.
It's in the Articles of Corporation, but that's it.
That's it. Articles of Corporation. That was it. Yeah. So Musk helped launch and fund OpenAI back in 2015. He gave $44 million between 2016 and 2020. So a chunk of change, which pales in comparison to the $13 billion that Microsoft have invested in it since, or have promised to invest in it. He left a co-chair position in 2018, but remained a contributor. He wants the the internal design and technology to be made public. That's one of his requests of the lawsuit. The other one, he wants executives and Microsoft to be unable to profit from the work that OpenAI are doing. And he wants undisclosed damages that he wants to give to charity or non-profit, which is easy for the richest man in the world to say, because of course, like, he would want to bankrupt somebody else and give that money to charity. He doesn't need to take it for himself. So what do you think? Do either of you guys know the point of this lawsuit, other than a grown man baby throwing his toys out the crib because his competition is seemingly going to beat him?
So on its face value, when you just read the first initial scheme of this, he invested in a nonprofit, and the nonprofit turned around and became a for-profit.
Right.
And so taking that fact at its face value and just 10,000 foot of view, he may have some kind of case. The reason he wants this to be public, though, I would imagine, is so that he can take the technology and run it in Grok or whatever that's called.
Yeah.
I think that's what he wants to do. So I don't see that happen. I do find it kind of odd that he doesn't want Microsoft to benefit after going through the thing that Delaware did to him and said, you can't get paid at, Tesla, even though the stock went up and through the roof and those kind of things. And he lost that lawsuit where they basically took away his right to get paid at Tesla. It said the package was, so it's weird that he's also looking at someone else's pocket now. It seems like he'd be more sensitive to those things. Or Microsoft obviously invested in a for-profit company and they deserve to make money on it.
I think he's just, like you said, he's butthurt because he wanted, instead of Microsoft, to be Tesla. And because he didn't have the belief initially to commit Tesla fully into, because I'm sure he would have made it for profit as well, like knowing Elon, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yes.
Like he totally would have done it. It's literally because it's Microsoft and not Tesla. And I think, like, I've seen some of the emails, he never thought of Microsoft coming in and, swooping it. He thought like Google would be the big competitor and like whatever. And so he just messed up, made the wrong call, and now he is missing out all the benefits that come from that. And the fact that, Elon Musk is open the benefit of humanity, that's a joke. Like, he doesn't care. You know what I mean? It's like, he does not. Like, he is, all about profit. He's just taking advantage of, hey, it's not him. He's butthurt, and let me try and make a fuss about it and see what happens. But at the end of the day, it's like,
he has his own version of this. He has XAI, that product Grok, which, by the way, is a paid product. behind a paywall right now on Twitter. He's literally doing the exact same thing that they're doing. Yet he's like, well, because we agreed in the first place that your version would be this, I never said that about my version, therefore I'm going to sue you over your version being this, while doing the exact same thing over here. But his version is junk, it's crap, it's nowhere near as good as the OpenAI version, so he's butthurt about it, that he doesn't have that version anymore. And something's so
to be fair, no one's really close to OpenAI though.
Like, they're not. No, they're not. None of these other ones have been as good. No, they haven't. No. Anthropic put a new one out this week that apparently has some stats that are better than theirs, but I don't have the paid version to be able to like play with it and test it. But every other one that I've ever tested it's just been nowhere near as good. OpenAI's ChatGPT and Copilot, which uses ChatGPT by Microsoft, are still the best ones that I've played with. A couple of responses from OpenAI. I've seen two things. We've seen a blog post which released a bunch of emails, which we'll look at here in a second, and they signed an open letter. So I don't know if you guys saw this. The open letter. They signed an open letter that was entitled "Build AI for a Better Future," subtitled "We call on everyone to build, broadly deploy, and use AI to improve people's lives and unlock a better future." The final paragraph, which says, "We undersigned already are experiencing the benefits of AI and are committed to building AI that will contribute to a better future for humanity. Please join us." And that kind of sums up what the rest of the thing says, actually. And it's signed by the likes of Meta, Google, Microsoft, Salesforce, Hugging Face, 11 Labs, and then a whole bunch of other companies and individuals. A total of, I think, 354 signatories, which are not just random people. These are companies and notable people in the space have signed this. Notice Musk isn't signing this, and X isn't signing this. So that's kind of like they put this back to say, hey, no, we are open. We do want to be open in one way, and we do want it to benefit everybody. The other thing that they did was they put up a blog post, and they made public some emails from Elon Musk, basically summarized in a way that Elon wanted it for profit is kind of one of the things that comes out of these emails. He wanted it to be for profit, so this kind of takes away we agreed that it would never be for profit. He wanted to take it under Tesla. He wanted to be the CEO and be the major shareholder in the thing. He wanted to profit at that point. And he also agreed that the fact that it was open didn't necessarily mean open source. The fact that it was open and the name part of OpenAI would eventually go away. He agreed that in an email, as we get closer to building AI, it will make sense to start being less open. The open in OpenAI means that everyone should benefit from the fruits of AI after it's built, but it's totally okay to not share the science. Elon responded to that email with, yup. Legally binding? Probably not, but his sentiment is there, probably, that yes, he kind of agreed with that idea, that I don't think it was never meant to be fully open all the time. They were always going to be for profit. They were always going to hide some of their technology from the broader public. The open part means that everybody can benefit from the fact that it is out there. What do you guys think about this?
Going to say, I agree with Bobby. He just made the wrong call, and now he's just upset. And he is not part of like this whole thing that now is OpenAI, and he's just regretting it. And he's trying to kind of, figure out how he could benefit.
He definitely wants the technology, and he wants OpenAI to reveal all their secrets. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, like, he's actually barking up the wrong tree. Before OpenAI, now they're backed by Microsoft.
Yeah.
And you could tell when Sam Altman left, Microsoft ain't playing.
No.
Right.
No. People visited people's houses and said, hey, Sam's coming back. We're just letting you know.
Speaking on the technology aspect of it, because kind of something they mentioned in this, one of the threads in the emails is this idea we want humanity to benefit, but it doesn't mean that we have to divulge like the technology behind it.
Right.
And I'm still all for open source, but at the same time, if you create a technology that a bad actor could use to do bad things at a level that people can't stop, okay, you have a good point, so maybe safety is an important concern to have. And so I feel like, as much as I love the fact that it will be cool if we have access and open source, like whatever, but at the same time, technology that has potential to cause serious harm should probably not be available to everybody. Like, I can't build a nuclear bomb right now if I wanted to. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
It's there's
Getting
steps
rich from
to-
uranium first.
Yeah,
That's a hard problem.
Hold on, let me check my refrigerator. I have something.
Yeah, but that makes sense, doesn't it? To keep some of it, not everything has to be open. Keeping some of it private is okay. And I like the idea of this, because we have said like OpenAI, more like closed AI. We make that joke a lot, but maybe that does make sense. And the fact that it was open doesn't necessarily mean open source, that you can look at everything. It means that everybody can benefit. And that seems like that's the point they're trying to make here. And Elon knows this. He's just butthurt that Microsoft's going to profit from it and not him. That's it. It's literally that simple.
He should have bought it a long time ago. He should have bought it for $44 million. Is what he should have done when they needed money.
Yep.
He should have said, "I'll own the whole thing for $50 million."
Right. He could have got it for $100 million easy. No questions. No questions.
Apparently, if you read through these things, he had a lot more vision of like where this could go than even the founders did. Like they didn't know.
Yep.
And he's used to building things at scale, like rockets and cars, and so part of his was right. 1 billion is nothing. You need to
but they wanted 100 million to start off with.
Right.
That was their initial figure, and he said, no, it's way bigger than that. It's $1 billion. He should have just said, if this is what he's going to do, he should have said, here's 100 million. Okay, now I'm the CEO. Let's go.
And I own the thing. Yeah,
exactly. He could have done that.
That's what he should have done.
Yep.
And so I don't know why he didn't do that. It's hard to tell.
Now who cares why he didn't originally? Now he's just mad about the fact that he didn't. Right. He didn't buy Bitcoin at 25 cents a Bitcoin. That's his butthurt. Right? He's just upset that he didn't buy it at such a low value and is able to profit from it. And he can't recreate it, apparently. It's not as easy as I think he thought it was to recreate it. And he's seen that now. He's seen how crappy his Grok version is. And he's like, well, I thought it was just going to be easy. So it's not. So now I'm just going to sue them, because I don't think he thinks he's even going to win. I think he thinks he can spend $50 million suing Microsoft and Sam Altman and just sue the problem away and just put it out in public and just, it's nothing to him. It's chump change. It's like us spending $10 on lunch.
Yeah, but Microsoft has unlimited money.
They do, but he just wants to hold them up and just be in the way, and he just wants to be a pain and be in the news. And
I think of what you just said, to be in the news. I think he's basically this is a way for him, for people to hear his name in public, and he knows Microsoft has deep pockets. They don't care, and even Microsoft is probably not taking this lawsuit seriously. They're like, there's nothing for you to stand on. And for him,
Microsoft's saying, bro, we get sued by governments every day. So
exactly. You see our EU antitrust stuff?
It's like, we got this. It's like, our law team is not something we worry about, so we're good. But like for him, it's like, hey, I paid, for this lawsuit, and now everybody's talking about it. I mean, like, we're talking about it. Every YouTubers talking about it. It's a story. It's a big story, and it's like he's inserting his way back into people's minds, regardless what happens.
Now, the flip side of this whole discussion is, even though I'm like against Elon on this particular case, I don't trust Sam Altman as far as I can throw him.
Yeah.
That guy would release AGI on the world if he had it. Absolutely. Yeah. That guy is the Bond villain from Quantum of Solace. I don't know if you remember that movie, but he looks just like that guy. And it's like, every time I think of it, it's like the guy from Quantum of Solace. But I just think he's a Bond villain. I think that, he talks about like universal income and OpenAI will fund the world. And he's out there saying he needs $7 trillion to do this thing, which is more than the U.S. government's, per capita, it's like, it's bigger than the U.S. I don't like him at all, and I don't like either one of them. But so
what's crazy though, like the thing that they're building and the money he needs. I know this is like another tin hat thing, but imagine if like China's like, yeah, we'll give you trillions of dollars. All you have to do is just come here.
Oh,
it's
like,
I mean, that's not going to end well for him, But I'm just saying, it's like, if it's. Because that will be, I'm sure there's like what is it called? Like, not espionage, but something like.
You can't export, the federal government's going to like restrict these companies from exporting tech right now. Yeah. So like, even like NVIDIA can't give certain chips to China. There's no way they're going to say, OpenAI can lease technology out there, because China will make their own chips, I guess, of some sort, So it's a big game. It's an expensive game, and I just don't know if they'll ever get to AGI. So maybe we're fighting over nothing, it's just going to create, short stories for
man, like
fifth graders.
I always thought like AGI is like so far away, but I think like we underestimate the progress of AI. And I mean, I don't know like what to believe, because some people I talk to, they're like, oh, like we're making leaps and bounds like every like few months. And then there's some people, say, oh, ChatGPT is just a parlor trick and it doesn't do anything special. And to me, it's like, who do you trust? But at the same time, we look at Sora and like what it's capable of producing, where, before we watched Will Smith eating pasta, it was like the worst thing you could see. Like, it'll give you nightmares. And now it's like, oh, I could kind of like, this makes sense. And I keep coming back to, this is the worst it's going to ever be. And the question I have is that, is it going to keep improving or is it going to stagnate? And I think we will definitely see AGI in our lifetime. I feel like.
I disagree on that one. Like, I just don't think it'll ever get there. Like, I think the 1% to get there to 98% AGI, maybe it can do lots of incredible things, but true AGI, I just don't see it.
So here's my thing. It doesn't have to be like true AGI, I think, in the sense you're thinking. It's like, even if it's like 75% there, where even as a human, it's good enough. It's like, it fooled me in like, like thinking it could be passable for a human. So the way I'm looking,
that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. And for instance, what NVIDIA is doing with their whole like virtual training for robots to be able to kind of, train robots to move. If you have an AGI aspect of it that's able to control those autonomously, to me, that's already pretty scary. Like, if you have like autonomous like robot machines that an AGI could, self-drive as you will. Like, so imagine instead of like self-driving cars like Elon's making, it's like anything that is able to move that is connected to AGI will be controlled by that AGI. So you'll have any source, autonomous drones, autonomous, whatever. And to me, that's crazy. So it doesn't have to have like self-awareness, but if you have something that's able to autonomously operate to achieve goals that are presented to it, to me, that's like AGI. It doesn't have to be like real AGI, but that's close enough in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get Copilot to generate good CSS. So like, sometimes it's like, that's why, I don't know if people have been watching me code for a while, and then I've made comments to Kevin, we're coding live or whatever, and you're like, look, Copilot did something good. And then the next second, it's like, what is it doing? Like, it has no idea what I'm doing.
But I think my opinion on AGI is I do think we get there. I really do. Whether it happens quick or fast, I don't really know. I think I'm leaning towards quicker now than much longer. I'm thinking decade times, not centuries time, which is what I was thinking before. And I think the reason being that we don't understand enough about what makes us, like, what would make an AGI. So, and we've gone down this road where it's just happening. And to your point, Bobby, like, ChatGPT isn't very good at CSS, but neither are 95% of humans. So the 5% that are, like, it can do that task. It can probably do more than probably 90% of humans when you ask it to do CSS, right? So, like, what is that thing? Like, it's a general intelligence. It's an all-rounder. You're talking about, like, will ChatGPT at this point, when it becomes an AGI, beat the best nuclear physicist at nuclear physics? No. Will it be better than 90% of us? Yes. That's the way I look at it. It's like, it's a general intelligence where it's good at a lot of things. It's very broad and it's not very focused.
To your point, that's already scary enough. Like, if you think, if it just beats average, and you take, it's just better.
And
than
that is the
average
point, right? That is the point of an AGI.
People.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And so you're like, that sucks for half the people. You know what I'm saying already by default.
Right.
By default, it's like it's know, average. Yeah.
And I think we get there. I think if we ask 100 humans a question and then ask the AGI the question, it's going to do better. I think you're right, Paul. It's going to do better than average on those questions. It's going to know more than an average set of humans.
I think you can have an encyclopedia of knowledge, and I think you'll be able to ask it things, and it can provide the answer. The question is, could it propose the question? And that's what humans do. That's the difference. When a human comes up with the question, and they look at, like, oh, why does the moon operate that way. Let me fly over there and figure that out. Like those kind of things that we look at different problems and try to figure them out. We pose questions. And I don't know if AGI is out. That's what I would, when AGI was like, it's proposing the question and then seeking the solution and then solving it.
So you could now, in theory, do like something, I mean, again, not at the AGI level, but you could have multiple agents that could work with each other outside of like human interaction to self-achieve like certain goals. Yeah, you still have to kind of set an initial goal, but it'll go through the process of figuring out. And, we made fun of that little device, Rabbit, whatever, the little tiny thing. Yeah. And we're like, what the hell is that? And I realized, because I looked into it a little bit more, because the device is stupid. And my argument back then is, why have a device if you could do it on your iPhone already?
It's an app.
Yeah. But the point is, it's not the device that they're selling. It's their software, which allows you to have these autonomous agents that could actually do what you describe, Bobby. So like the idea is, you could be like, I need to like file my taxes by this date. Can you like do this for me? And they'll go through the process of like finding the person for you, telling you which documents you need. So it's like, if they nail it, it'll be pretty cool, because it's that one step closer to having like a type of, if you will, a secretary that could actually be helpful in the things that you want. And so to me, I think we're getting there slowly. And it's like I said, like, and I agree with you, Kevin, it doesn't have to be like real AGI, but it has to be close enough, better than average, and we're already in trouble. It's just,
But yeah, like sometimes like we could train it to buy airline tickets and find the best price, maybe. But if you really start and think about like buying airline tickets or something like that, there's all these things that go through your mind at the point of purchase that you just take for granted,
It can figure that out. I'm convinced it can do that stuff. I think you're going to be able to
a
give
lot
it a
of
task,
things
and it's
that
going to be able to
you
break down the
would do
task.
it differently. You're like, wow, that's stupid. What did you do that for?
Well, yeah, but that's where your personal version of your assistant comes in for something like that, where it knows your preferences. It knows I prefer Delta over American, and it would book a Delta flight over an American flight. Because it has all my data. It knew that I flew Delta, and I made a post about it and said it was great. And it knew that I flew American, and it sucked, and they stranded me at an airport, which really happened. And it knows that I don't like them, so I wouldn't book it on that. I think that stuff's all just data that it can actually use. I think it could do that.
And then we still have to hook all these systems together. It's not automatic, even if it was aware.
We do, and that's to Paul's point. That's what that Rabbit device was trying to do. It was trying to say, book airline tickets, and it could do all of that stuff where it does hook it all in together, and it does pull those things in. So you're right, it is more software than a piece of hardware. They really pitched that thing badly, didn't they?
Yeah, they really did a bad job. I had to watch their keynote just to be on, and I'm like, no, this is actually like a clever idea. They totally didn't present it in the way that they should have.
And it also looks like a kid's toy, something you're going to read bedtime stories to my 2-year-old with, or something like that. So that's what it looks like to me. But I'll be fascinated to see where we go. I just think we'll get up there closer, but it'll never get there. I think the last 10% is a lot harder and a lot farther than we think.
Yeah, but I think when we're there, we're going to call it AGI. I think there's no real, because there is no real test for this thing, right? We've always said like there's the Turing test, right? But it's like, I think we're there for the Turing test. I think there's 50% of the people right now who would actually be fooled by an AI. I really do. I think you can have a conversation with one and they would actually be fooled by it.
Yeah, but David Copperfield can fool me though. That doesn't mean he can move the Statue of Liberty. I mean, so like there is
right. Well, that's what I'm saying. That is the trick. Right. It is a trick. It is a thing. Right. But who's to say that's not how we work? Mm-hmm. Who's to say that we're not also just using a trick?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's the end result that matters. It doesn't matter how you get there. It's the perception of. It's the perception of. Does it seem real? It doesn't matter how it got there. Whether it's the same progress path, thinking path that we think, or whether it's a totally different path, it's the end result that matters.
And I forgot who said it, but he was like kind of talking about how a lot of people, they will just talk about ChatGPT. Oh, it's just, because I say this all the time. They're like, it's just a random word like generator. It's just trying to guess what. And then he goes, and you're just like what are you? Like, what are you doing? Like,
you're just a bag of cells. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, you just until we get to AGI. But one thing that I'm going to say, it's like people are investing so hard in this field, and a lot of I forgot which company it is. They're literally like, they invest in companies they're only investing in AI companies.
There's a bubble coming. The AI bubble is coming. Like there's going to be a lot of these that go out a bit. There are going to be some winners though, for sure. NVIDIA, we're already seeing it. Well, their stock price is going through the roof.
And like the people that win, it's like they're absolutely going to benefit. But I mean, like with some of the stuff that you see happening, you definitely see that it is going to impact the world. And so like for me, going through this process, like, how do I stay relevant? How do I keep that going? And I'm starting to like get to a point where you're going to the divide between like beginner level, like let's say, I'll use development as experience. Like you have beginner level developers, and then you have like expert level developers. I feel like for beginners, because of AI, they're going to be able to get a lot done, but I don't think it's going to improve them in continuing their learning to learn like the higher, like, whatever, like aspects of development, because you have AI kind of helping you just to be productive. But and at the same time, I'm like, does it matter if you could solve business problems and be productive and not be as good of a developer because AI helps you? Is that a problem? But for me, I'm always trying to be like, how could I push my understanding of development to go to that next level and not just do things because I'm using a black box that I may not know how it works, but it's helped me to get to solutions.
Yeah, and to some degree, as far as development goes, we're all using black boxes because like we've been abstracted like 4 or 5 times away from the OS level, the machine level. It's a lot more complicated now and also easier at the same time. Just to have something like JavaScript or C# is just like crazy when you think about languages like COBOL that I learned in college. It's, the things you can do is crazy. Without abstraction, we couldn't do it though.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's another thing I think about, that actually like I get less scared because you think of what is a compiler? Because like when you write code, it's like a string of text, and the compiler makes sense of it to the machine. And so ChatGPT, or, where you type prompts or you speak prompts, it's just like a fancier compiler in a sense. It literally just translates what you want. So you're still doing programming. You just don't have to write the code physically, but you still like, so to me, I'm like, it's just another abstraction. But another part of that, which is funny, I don't know if you all know, like this universe, like it's like Warhammer 40K.
Yep.
And so like the whole, and I don't remember if I mentioned this before, but the whole premise there is that a lot of the technology that exists, they can't create new technology because it's been so long from when it was built that people forgot how to build it, because they have all these technologies that do it for them. So I'm thinking, will AI and all these like black boxes like last long enough that at some point we get so reliant on them that if something breaks, we won't be able to fix it because nobody knows how it works?
Well, I just think today, I mean, still, like we look at the pyramids and we're like, how did they do that exactly? Like we do have problems about that, and say, like, how did they build those things?
Well, aliens, obviously, we've watched the History
Aliens.
Channel.
Yes,
Come
it was
on.
aliens.
We've seen the History Channel.
And so, but we'd also lose, like, if I had to like troubleshoot assembly code right now, I would like, I don't know how to do it. I'm hoping I'm reading a book or I'm finding something that I can do. But the mother invention is necessity. If something did break and we were relying on AI, we would just do it manually and figure it out all over again. That's what a human does. They can just create things that didn't exist before. They can develop new knowledge on their own. It's called creativity. So that's why I think it's amazing when you start thinking about what your brain does versus what a computer can do. It's not really close yet. Maybe it'll get there. I don't think it will though.
Yeah, it's to me, it's still funny because I talk to a lot of people that have like conspiracy theories, and they're really about like one solar flare away from wiping out all of our technology. And to me, it's like hilarious because, there's some people that really worry about AI and AGI taking over. And then there's people that like one solar flare away from like, okay, it's like, let me stock up on some stuff. And it's just funny how everybody lives in this 2 different worlds, and, they're kind of like, it's like influencing their life and stressing them out. And at the end of the day, like whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And it's just like, live your life and do what you can do with your problem that you're experiencing at this moment, and not future thinking based on the news and trying to come up scenarios that didn't happen yet. It's like, it's like everybody's quitting to learn how to code because someday in the future, maybe 10, 20, 30, 50, right. maybe 5 years from now, there's going to be no developer jobs. So you're letting like some potential thing that due to a solar flare might not even happen. It's like, and you're already quitting your job that you didn't start. And so to me, that's so hilarious. Like the way, people make the judgment. So to me, I'm like, I just live my day-to-day problems. It's like today I have to fix this stupid bug.
I remember talking to my wife's father. He recently passed away several years ago, but he came up through, he was a kid during the Depression, and they lived here in rural North Carolina during the Depression. And I was asking him, so what was it like during the Depression? He goes, it was no different. He says, we plant and grew our own food. He says, all the people in the cities had the problem with the Depression. We didn't have that issue. And it's everything about problems is relative to what you're doing. And it's like AI to change the world. There's a lot of other people that don't use computers really on a daily basis. And they're like, they don't know what it is or why they would need it, and so like, I think that for us coders, everyone gets scared of coding, but the complexity is increasing at the same rate where AI is trying to, like I say, can't even code CSS. And we're adding on like 10 or 12 other things on top of that, now, like where Bootstrap will come out or Tailwind comes out. And then there's a thing beyond that. And then there's Next.js, and then there's something else. And, so it always changes, it always grows, and we move it forward. It's got to really catch up really quick.
This is my prediction. As long as jQuery exists, web development jobs are going to exist. That's it.
jQuery is going nowhere.
Just released a new version, didn't they? jQuery just released a new version. What are you talking about?
jQuery's been dead for what, 15 years now, at least?
It's not dead. jQuery is not dead. What are you talking about?
It's so funny. It's the technology that literally will never die. It's too baked into everything. So once again, let's talk about flying cars. This is Paul's favorite flying car startup, Aleph. I think that's how we've decided we were going to pronounce it, Aleph. We talked about this back in episode 21, which was quite a while ago now. So they have this story's come out because they have confirmed now that they have 2,850 pre-orders for their $300,000 two-seater flying car. So just a recap on the car, if you remember, this was the Model A car. It's what they're calling an electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicle. Looks more like a drone than a plane. Looks a little bit more like a car than a lot of the other flying cars are. People made a $150 deposit to purchase one of these things, or you made a $1,500 deposit to jump the queue and go to the front, priority deposit, I guess. They're claiming that if all of these sold, that would make them $850 million. You're going to love this quote, by the way. That amount of pre-orders makes it, and I quote, the best-selling aircraft in history. That is according to their CEO, Paul's favorite guy, Jim Duchovny. This has a 2025 launch date target. So this is only a year away, is what we're saying here. They are claiming to be a year away from this. I don't know if you guys also read the rest of the story. They're also working on a Model Z, which is a 4-person version that is targeted for 2035, so a decade's time, at only $35,000. This has Elon Musk electric car promises written all over it. Remember when the Cybertruck was only going to be $30,000? Yeah, it came in at $100,000 and 2 years late.
Not even. This guy, like, first of all, scroll down a little bit so you could see the face of this dude. Anybody with a face like that, like, you do not do business with them, period. If you gave money to someone that looks like that, that's on you. So whatever money you lost.
He does look straight out of a John Wick movie.
Listen,
not like a bad villain material.
Yeah. Like, look at him. Like, first of all, and there's so many discrepancies like that. Like, first of all, they don't even have like a real test flight. I showed there's a company that actually has a drone that you sit in that you could fly an actual vehicle that works.
Yep.
And this guy doesn't have none of that. And like, it's just nonsense. To me, it's just like the fact that he's getting this much publicity. It's like insane to me because it is obviously a scam. And
this is covered on CNBC. This is where we're reading this right now.
They don't know any better. They're like, we need a story. We're just like, like dinosaur media. We need to like do something, and I feel bad for everybody that's being scammed. Like, they will never release a car, period. Like, yeah, you like compare him to Elon Musk, like, but he actually did the thing.
He built
he actually
a car.
had the
Yeah, he
had
did.
car.
No, he did.
He actually
Yeah.
had somebody build the car, then he stole the design from them, and then he fired them, and like whatever. But this guy doesn't even have that. You know what I mean? And so like, and to me, I just feel bad for anybody who paid a cent to this company. And there's so many other companies that are not even going to be. They're already ahead of this company, and he's a good marketer. He's a good.
I wonder why
BSer.
I wonder why he's getting the coverage. It is weird, isn't it?
It is weird
that this one is getting coverage, because I never see. I mean, we've joked before. We talk about flying cars here. The only flying cars we've ever really talked about is this company's flying cars. Why is this the one that always seems to bubble to the top?
So all the money's going to the PR department.
Yeah,
they have nothing in
right,
engineering.
exactly. They're scamming people. Is going all to like their marketing department, and they're doing this. Like,
let me tell you why this will never sell, even if they make it. This guy, it says in this article here that we're reading, it says that this is a car first. So that means that you're going to drive it more than you fly it, which if you're buying a flying car, I don't know why you would ever drive a flying car. Do you know how fast this top end speed is on the road?
Yeah, like 30.
35 miles per hour.
that's not a car.
It's not a car.
It's a scooter.
Well, scooters go faster. It's like,
yeah.
Listen, I look at how like I love the design now. I'm thinking about it. It's got like that SpaceX feel. Like it's literally like the budget version of Elon that fails at everything. That's basically what this company is. And if I'm gonna put money, and I already called this other company out, but if I put my money, it's not this. It's gonna be Jetson One. Like that's like if you want to find a thing that flies and works and you're gonna have fun, go invest in that. I think you guys spelled Jetson One. Yeah. Invest in this company. Like it's flying.
It actually
like that's
flies.
something you don't see from that other guy. This is actually flying. They don't have a stupid design. It's like an actual thing. Like look at it go. It's not like CGI. The other guy has a CGI video, which is like, dude, if you're a real company, you could have spent more money on your CGI. Like their CGI looks like trash. Like 1980s Tron looks way better. And look at the reasonable price. Like what? Like they're not making stuff up. They're like, listen, it's gonna cost $100, and it's believable. Like this thing, like I would, if I had the money, I would buy this thing for $128,000. Because
but this is like the equivalent of like this is the equivalent of like one of those little off-road like vehicles, right?
Yep.
This is supposed to be the equivalent of like a family car, or it's a two-seater. So maybe this is not quite a family car, but it's more than a single-seater. Like I get the idea difference, but I agree with you. This doesn't exist. This doesn't fly.
And
they had it at the auto show, and you couldn't get inside of it. You couldn't look at the inside.
No, because it's a mock-up. You can see it is.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, this is one of those things. You get close to it, it's full of rough edges, and just like this is like molding that somebody did by hand. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I read it's just mesh. It's a material. It's a stretched material.
Here's another dumb thing about it. So he said they're going to have the 2-seater ready by next year. And then a 4-seater a decade away. That means he has no idea like how stuff works, because like you literally like explain that to me. How do you go like I have a 2-seater car and I want to make a 4-seater. I just add extra. You don't need a decade to figure out how to take a 2-seater car to a 4-seater.
Weight of 4 people, I guess.
No, it's true. This is the I don't know what I'm doing.
No, but it's still like I don't know what I'm doing. Like bigger engine. I could tell you what you need. Like it's basically way too like lift ratio. I mean, it's like the guy, I mean, literally just go back to his picture and it's just him counting the money he stole in his mind. That's basically what he's doing. Like, look, he's like, look, oh, all that money I got. Oh, they keep sending me these things. Nice.
They have also said though, those are refundable, by the way, the deposits. So he's saying he's made nothing
link
yet.
You could send money to right now if you like.
Yeah. Well, I just say he's literally made nothing yet, technically, although he's taken the money in. Who knows what he's done with it?
ASAP, folks. Don't like go Jetson One. Don't go this route. Get your money out as fast as possible.
My thought on this is too, let's say this happens. Let's say that next year they start shipping these, right? I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. But let's say that does happen. Do you think we're actually going to be allowed to have a flying car land on our driveway, take off, and fly somewhere else?
No.
Dude, you can't even publicly just fly your drone anymore.
Exactly. You can't fly a drone right now.
There's first like the last time we talked about, they said that they got some sort of like approval, which I think it's BS. Like
it was a testing approval, is what it was. That approval was basically like approval to test the car and fly it in the air. But it's never going to happen, right? I just don't. Do you think it's going to get past some kind of government approval that says, "Oh no, it's fine. You can take off and fly. Like you can take off from your house and fly over the target. That's fine. Yeah, no worries." But it's never going to happen.
But yeah, he's never gonna. We'll never like. You will, for this to work, there will need to be a standard. There's going to be like a piloting exam. You're basically going to have to go through everything a pilot has to go. It's not going to be treated like a car. It's going to be treated like, oh, you need to be a pilot.
Yes.
And you need to get the proper licensing.
Yes.
You need to get, and it's like,
you know how long that takes to get?
Yeah. It's all
you've got to have hundreds and hundreds of hours of flying, and it costs a fortune because you've got to have invested in hundreds of hours of flying to be able to get your pilot's license. And I agree. The same license is going to be required to this. The same license you're going to need to fly a plane. You're not just going to be able to go buy one of these and just fly it.
Yeah,
from your driveway.
Stuff falling off of it or coming out of the windows. You know,
who's liable?
You got your kids in the back seat, and they throw their Power Ranger out the window and kill someone. You know, like, hey, look, Dad.
Like this guy just figured out how to fleece people for money.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of regulation has to happen here for this to actually happen before the physical thing can actually happen.
And CNBC, shame on you for even like entertaining these stories. Like, it's a shame on you.
And someone's going to try to fly this to the edge of the planet and kill themselves because, it's not pressured cabin and all that kind of stuff. So
right, like how high can you go in this thing?
That's the first thing the 16-year-old does. Take her to the top. Like, that's what Iron Man did.
We're talking about all these hypothetical situations because like the thing doesn't even fly yet.
It doesn't fly. It'll never fly.
Yeah, it'll never fly. It doesn't have a demo. It has a cheesy CGI that, first of all, I don't know, like their CGI, like what were they thinking?
I can imagine for this to work, if it could actually work and was a physical thing, that has put so many regulations in place around, like, even if they said, yes, you have passed a license and that you can take off from home, there's going to be only certain places you can fly and certain speeds and certain heights. And they even have things right now on drones. You can only fly a drone at a certain height. Yeah. If you have a certain like drone, you can only fly at 400 feet and only in certain areas. And they GPS lock the drone. So you can't take it any higher than 400 feet. You can't fly in certain areas because it's GPS blocked on the app. Like if you try and fly in a certain distance from an airport, it says, no, you can't take off here. You can't fly above, I think it's like 10 feet. And so there's all that kind of stuff has to be worked out. And that's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah. But the problem I have with this whole thing, it's like, I'm not like an engineer or anything, but I could kind of like guess like, okay, if you have a plane, it has to have some ability to stabilize itself. It needs to have like these things. Like, I don't see any of that in this car. Like, I can't, like, is it using anti-gravity device to fly? Like, how does it work?
It's got like the four wheels turn sideways and they turn into rotors.
If
that's what it does.
Don't forget, it flies on its side.
The wheels on that thing, that it flips sideways. So
it
basically,
flies on its side. Yeah.
It has, in theory,
it has a gyroscopic cockpit,
giant,
right?
Yeah, it has a giant engine in the front and in the back, so it's like a dual rotor like thing. And then when it flies, it has to turn sideways to push itself. It's like, it's so dumb. Like, I mean, like, it is dumb. Like, the whole idea is dumb. Like, I just don't see it. And I just feel bad for anybody that paid money for it.
My point is, if it's a year away, there should be a video of this thing flying right now.
Like, the only thing that's a year away is his trip to a country where we can't expedite him back. All the money.
Going to Belize.
That's the only thing. And actually, it's not going to be a year away. It's going to be like 6 months away because he's like, I'll tell him a year, and then I'm just going to whoop. And
so, Paul, you're basically telling me I should get my $1,500 priority thing 100%, back now?
100%.
Okay.
And like, just
SpaceX is invested in this thing, supposedly. That's what's crazy.
What? That's Elon trolling. That's 100%. Just like he does, like, whatever that coin is, he's trolling with this. Like, there's no way in hell. I will say it on the limb. Like, I have a higher chance of starting my own company from scratch right now and developing a flying car faster than these guys. 100%. 100%.
So Microsoft is set to end its Windows 11 Android subsystem. Something I had totally forgotten you could even do. You can run Android apps in Windows 11. This was announced 3 years ago. And looking back when I read the story, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. It can't it? I forgot it could even do this. So you could download Android apps from the Amazon App Store, and they ran in Windows 11. So as of March 5th, 2025, there will no longer be support for this. Microsoft is cutting it off. Apps past this date, apps will still work, but they won't be updated and won't be supported. So this was Microsoft's answer to iOS apps running in the M1 chips, running on Apple Silicon, which just works. Like it does. Because I was asking myself, I was like, have I ever done this? Have I ever done it in Windows? No. I was like, have I ever done it on iOS? I was like, yeah, I have. I didn't even realize I was doing it. Some iOS apps I have running on my machine were actually iOS apps. It's like, oh, it's just a seamless thing and it just works. And I hadn't really thought about it. So this was like Microsoft's answer for that. But it seems like they're now abandoning it. So, Bobby, you ever used any Android apps in Windows? Have you used any iOS apps on Mac?
Well, I don't know if I've done it on Mac. I haven't done it on Windows really at all. But I did a little research, and it looks like the Google Play Store beta, you can install the Google Store on Windows. And so I know some guys that play games, and they run some Android games on there. One of those is called Arknights. It's like a tower defense game, and they play it a lot. And then this runs inside a Google Play Store, and you just run it, install it. It doesn't use the subsystem, though. It uses their own emulator.
Oh,
and
okay. So that's going to still work past this.
And then if it doesn't install, there's this like nightmare scenario of like where you're installing like Linux and stuff on your Windows. It's like, it's crazy the amount of stuff you have to do. You have to compile the code sometimes, like it's kind of funny. But yeah, you can do it. It does install right from Windows. Now I tried to install it this morning just for getting ready for this, see if I could run a game on my Windows PC.
Yeah.
My Windows PC runs an emulator because I run it on Parallels and I'm on a Mac.
Yeah.
It won't install on that.
Yeah.
Maybe I could have researched it more to get it going, but I didn't care enough to do it. So
right.
I don't think anyone's gonna like miss this from Windows.
I think there's like there's this point something percent of people who are gonna miss it, right? Yeah. And they're like, no, why are you getting rid of this? I need that one app that I've been using.
Yeah.
When you said this feature existed, I was like, what are you talking about? Like
right?
I didn't miss anything. Like with this story, I missed nothing because I had no idea it was a thing. And that's probably like majority of the people.
Yeah, I agree.
But pull up Google Play Store beta, and they'll show you like where you can there you go, the top link there. That's it. So this doesn't rely on that subsystem, and so it's their own thing. I think it's their own emulator, their own container running a version of Linux that you run and download and install, and it runs on Windows somehow.
Okay.
Can I ask a silly question?
Yeah.
Like, why the hell would you play mobile games in your PC?
I was going to say the same thing. I was like, who's this targeted at?
What are you doing?
If you're serious into like the game they play, Arknights, you can play it on your mobile device, which is fine. Or you can play it on your 24-inch monitor, and sit at your desk and do it.
Still a mobile game.
It's still cool, but like, they just want to use a bigger screen to do it. So
okay, again, this has to be such a niche product. I can't believe there's a massive amount of people doing this.
I don't know if they are or not, but that's apparently the replacement for it. And I think the big problem was for Windows is they picked the Amazon store because they probably couldn't come to an agreement with Google.
I'm sure.
And, this also uses Google Play services so that when you pay your money, it goes to Google, but it runs on Windows still. Right. And so that's the other thing that I guess Windows and Google couldn't come to an agreement on, who owns the store. And Amazon store wasn't that great, I think, is the main reason that it kind of failed.
So, Paul, you're not looking to get your Matchington mansion fix?
There you go, man.
That's screen.
Gather fancy decorations.
Dude,
that sounds like right up your alley.
Mobile games. Like, if it's like a true mobile game, I'm like, basically like a way to scam you out of money as if you're in a casino by
it's microtransaction hell, isn't it?
Yeah, microtransactions. I do have mobile games, and what they're actual remakes of like the actual games from PC. So there's a game called XCOM on PC that was amazing. I have it on my phone. It's like the same thing. It's not a mobile game. It's just the game that you play on your phone, but it's literally like the same desktop version. So like that's the
I can tell you there are two games that are like, you may never heard of them. They're ridiculously large player bases, Genshin Impact and Arknights. So if you go down there, I saw Genshin Impact.
Yeah, this one for sure. I've heard of this. Yeah, I did play this for a minute.
They are playing that like nobody's business. And that is it is a time suck and a like.
But look at it. It says install on Windows.
Yeah. Through Google Play Store.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
It's not an
it's
actual
through
Windows
this. No,
game.
it's through this. No, it's through this. Yeah, it's through this emulator. Whatever this is called.
So that's the key. I mean, I think they're just, it wasn't successful. Microsoft's cutting it off, and then Google has an answer. And
maybe that's why. Maybe they realize they're not just abandoning everybody. They just know that there's another solution to this. So most people are going to go do it over here. Because maybe it is majority of games. Because don't forget, the other one wasn't just games. It was you could run anything on it.
Yeah.
It was any app. Or I say any. I think it was still limited, just like the iOS ones are. You can't run any iOS app on Mac. It's certain ones. It's the majority, but certain ones still don't work. So I'm assuming it's the same way with Windows.
And not all games in the Google Store are on this. So there are some, they do have to be approved and whatever it is. I mean, so there is a certain segment of the game population that's on this.
Okay. It is this time of the week that we talk about our recommendations then. Our recommendations that you use a product or service, that you avoid a product or service. So Bobby, you can go first. You're first on the list. All
right, I've got a brand new category here. This is the thing that I don't know if it's good and I don't know if it's bad. It's just completely weird. And if you go to Amazon, I don't know if you knew this, but you can have live streams on Amazon now. Right in the middle of your top bar there, live stream.
Okay.
And then you can watch people cook. And I guess the products are related to the things you can buy.
That's
she's
cool.
Combing her hair. And I'm like, the Not Null podcast should be on Amazon live stream. I'm saying that, that's where we need to be.
I have seen this.
So we could recommend these products.
Recommend products.
And you can click on it right there and go get, your tool or service. So I didn't know. And they've got creators over here. So, 20 of them, but, maybe we're the wrong creator type.
Here we go. There's a tech section. Look.
Man, I can go get some work done. Maybe I can be a fashion model, like get some stuff done.
There you go. Okay, interesting. And then you just, oh, there's your camera. They're recommending your camera. Look at that.
Right there, the ZVE10.
There you go.
We could do a technology podcast right here on live stream. So make that happen, Kevin.
Interesting. Yeah, let's see. Tricia knows what she's talking about here with this camera. That's cool. Interesting. Yeah,
if you ever wanted to know, what I found fascinating about it is like directly related to the affiliate link is like, it's now part of the show. We've gone away from affiliate link. Click in the description below. It's like right in the UI now. Like it's
right.
The whole thing's an ad. The whole thing, the live stream is the ad. So it's kind of funny.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I love or hate this.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to watch some of these. Yeah, interesting. Okay, Paul, what you got this week?
Oh my God, my null is Amazon, specifically when you're buying big ticket items. Oh my God. The return policy sucks because they don't offer that thing anymore where you could go to a store and drop it off. Because I looked, like it says the only way you could return is to have the UPS come and pick it up.
Okay.
And so we'll try 3 times. They tried once and never came back. So now I have to go through this stupid process of canceling and then reschedule another appointment. So it's like time I'm missing. So the item I bought is $700. So the first problem, that's the return sucks. Because it's inconvenient unless there's a more convenient way of me having to be here. Basically, I have to be on point with it. It's not like it's inconvenient for me because it's just like that's time out of my day. The second thing, they just mess up orders all the time because I got 2 orders back to back, both got messed up. And the second mess up, I'm not gonna blame they just do a terrible job of working with checking packages that they get in return. So this is what happened. I bought the laser projector thingy portable because I was like, dude, this thing's got to be awesome. They send me the thing. It says laser projector. I open it and I'm like, something's not right. I take out the thing. I look into it. It's a complete different model. So I paid $700, but I got the box, but the item in the box was the $300 model.
Oh,
so
wow,
somebody
that's
must have
terrible.
bought it, and so now I have to go through this crazy process of returning it.
Yeah.
But here's the issue: is like I want that thing, so I didn't wait. So I got a second one, right? And thank God it was the right one. But now I'm asked out. Like I paid $700 for the one that I wanted, but now I got to go through this return process to get my $700 back from the previous. So it's like $1,500 that's like in ebb and flow like right now, which is like annoying as hell. So my new rule, don't buy big item products on Amazon. Maybe that's a rule everybody had, but there's got to be a limit. Maybe like $250, like, because I could deal with the hassle, be like, screw it. I'm just gonna buy the stuff from the actual places because this is so annoying. But sorry, I didn't mean to swear, but screw Amazon. I'm so upset. But this Nebula laser, look, I could project it on my face, but it's on. Nebula laser 3 thing, the best money spent. The $700 I spent, and people like, it's not like perfect like a movie theater. It's not like it's good enough. So here's the thing: I have a big screen TV that I could move around anywhere I want. So I got the laser one, which is whatever the hell it is. This is the one I got. So $639. So like this thing is awesome because you could play videos off your phone. Like you could play videos from the actual device. I have that Fire Stick thing that I have here. You could connect it together and you could play anything. So I've set this up. I have a back wall here and I'll put on the wall. Obviously it's got to be a little bit darker. That's the only like con. But I'm watching like stuff and I'm getting that movie like big screen experience. And then the other day I was like, you know what? I'm going to continue watching this in my bedroom. So I just picked the goddamn thing up, carry it to my bedroom.
Did you put it on the roof? You can put it on the roof.
You can put it anywhere you want. And,
that's cool.
And the cool thing, it doesn't have to be like direct like angle. It could be like off kilter, and it's smart enough to adjust the image.
It automatically adjusts,
which
right?
is insane. And it's battery powered. You could plug it in. So the other night, I mean, I'm telling you too much about this. I love my bathtubs, and I love.
I knew this was going there.
Oh Jesus Christ! I already have like these smart lights all over my thing because I like us like mood lighting, and so I got this curtain, and so first of all, by the way, this is too much information, but I could sit. You're like on your toilet, like whatever. You can watch the news projected on the wall, right? Whatever. It's terrible. I shouldn't have shared it. But last night I was like, I want to take a bath, but I want to listen to some good music. And it'll be nice if I could have some visual, cool imagery while I'm like relaxing, like the fireplace, whatever, the rainforest. So I actually point this thing on my shower curtain that's out of cloth. And so as I'm laying in the bathtub, enjoying my Epsom salt plus like my whatever aromatherapy that I do, and I have this imagery of a rainforest while listening to rainforest sounds. I'm like, this is too amazing. This thing is too cool. And so now I'm like thinking, what if I get a glass pane and I project the image, and then I create my AI like avatar that I want to chat to, and just project it in my living room. Like, I mean, it's like it's pretty neat. It's but the coolness of it, like, to be honest, like the portability of it and getting that big screen experience, and like $700 is a lot, but it's not like,
not for projectors. It's not. Yeah,
it's not 1,200. No. Like, it's not like I like.
Yep.
The portability of it, like the fact that I could make anything a screen now, it just blows my mind. Like it's pretty cool.
And you could travel with it too.
Right.
You could go to a hotel and have a giant screen in the hotel.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And that's what I was thinking. Like I am planning to do some trips, and it's like, I'm not going to bring a screen with me, but this thing, it's like, it's perfect. Like bring my laptop, bring this thing. I could project stuff from my laptop onto this. It's money well spent, even though like I hate Amazon now, and I don't know if I'm going to get refunded my $700, which I think I will, but the thing is amazing. And even if I don't get a refund, I am going to be butthurt, but at the same time, the item that they sent me was like their $400 previous model that I'm trying to return. But if it doesn't return, I'll just give it to my sister. I don't care. And I'll be out $275.
Do you think they made a mistake in that, or you think that somebody returned it with the wrong thing?
Because once I realized it was the wrong item, I went back, kind of remembering myself unpacking it, and I'm like, somebody went out of their way to package this to make it look as if it was a brand new item.
Okay.
They literally, this is what they did. They had an old item. They ordered the new item on Amazon, and they're like, "Oh no, we don't want it." They put the old item, took the stole the new one,
stole it.
When it got back to Amazon, they're like, "Oh, this is packaged like in its original wrap," because someone
and they don't know to look for the model number.
Yeah, they didn't even bother opening it though, because it was. They return it, and they must have said, like, because when you return stuff, they ask you, "Did you open it? Did you not open it?" They just said, "We never opened it," and they had like the shrink wrapper machine. You know what I mean? They made like a good job. It's crazy.
Okay, so my pick for this week is a not null, and since the closure of Artifact, which was my previous like news application that I was using to read news, I've been searching for the next great news app, and I've got a contender this week, and it's called Ground. It is ground.news. And the interesting thing about ground.news is they pull together a whole bunch of different sources into one place. So one of the things about news that is interesting these days, being the way that it is everything is politicized. Apparently, even tech news stories are politicized because you see them right here. And it tells you which side is covering a particular story. And so they basically rated news organizations as left, centrist, or right. And they'll tell you, like, for this story, like, who's covering this story. So this one you'll see, if I click on it, they have this bias section. So this one is getting covered predominantly center, but left. Nobody on the right's covering the story. And then it gives you links, and you can link to any one of the stories you want to talk about. It gives you an AI summary of the story. Also an AI summary based on whether it's left, right, or center, which is interesting too. And then they have this really crazy section that is called blind spot, which tells you when only one side is covering a particular story. It'll say, like, the only people covering this story is the left. And there'll be 27 sources, and every single one of them is left, and nobody on the right's covering it, or the reverse. And they call that blind spot news. So I find this kind of interesting. Of course, the political stuff that's on here is kind of very much polarizing. It's very much one way or the other. Or a lot of times it's like this covered 39% left, 38% center, 23% right. So it's kind of interesting. It's very cool. And then you can see like stories that are covered here. So mainly left or mainly right. They have this blind spot section. So I'm going to try this. Their free version's pretty good. Gives you a lot of access. They have a paid version too, which gives you access to more topics and those kind of things. But for news, I'm going to give this a shot. I kind of like this idea that it gives you back the original sources, so you can link back to them, so you can go read them if you want. But also, it just gives you the headlines too if you want to just read the headlines. That's my pick for this week. It is ground.news.
They should definitely sponsor us. I like the idea of it where they give you the sources and you, like, it's hard to get fooled, because you kind of get to see everything up front.
Right.
And I guarantee you, like, in the future, they're going to add another section, like, AI content, and they'll tell you what's like AI generated and what's like actual but I think this is like, it is sad that this is a type of service we need to help us decide like what's nonsense and what's like but I mean, they're genius. Like this is a very
this is a good idea.
Smart.
Actually,
it is a good idea.
Good idea.
Yeah, because the problem that I was having, I was like, you read the news source, you're like, yeah, but are they left or right leaning? Because that seems to be your question these days. Like, do I trust what they're saying? And somebody on the far left, you probably outweigh this one, you get rid of this one. But the ones down the center, maybe you actually get the news, right? And not somebody's opinion, right? They tell you, they do rate these things. There's also high factuality, and there's a low factuality as well, which again is probably based on some kind of opinion, and then which way they lean. There's some other stats you get too if you pay for it as well, as to stats around the sources, which is interesting. I think, this is an interesting. I'm going to try it and see if I like it. Maybe it'll annoy me because I'll see articles in here that are covered by one side or the other or not. And I'll be like, I'm going to be like, why are they only covering that and not the other side's covering that? Because that's the way I always think about it. I was like, and then you can like, I see why, because that like makes somebody look bad or isn't gender pushing in a certain way or whatever. But then and it's like, I'd rather be informed and make my own opinions on it.
But but at least you're informed and you know where it's coming from. And I like this because like, I like the fact that you kind of see like who's pushing what, and I'm not against like looking at all the different like stories and just
That's
being
why I like this.
Yeah, like being like, yeah, exactly, being well informed and coming to my own conclusion. The question I have for you though, Kevin, do they mention the car manufacturing that's going to build a flying car in any of their posts? The first thing I'm going to say, if they don't mention it, it's because it's bullshit. Sorry.
Let's look.
And if they do mention it,
there it is, top story right
It
now.
is, but it's only one source, so it's not. I'm looking for one with multiple sources. They don't really
just pick the top one, like see what it says.
This is going to be the CNBC one, I'm guessing. Right? Is it? Oh no, Aleph News. So no.
Aleph News. That sounds suspicious.
It does sound suspiciously like the company putting out their own
Like
news.
I said, that PR department,
That's
baby.
what I'm saying. This is exactly like the fact that it's just one-sided. Like this just confirms it's just BS.
Yeah. There's not many. Okay, so there's this one with two sources, which also doesn't even have the CNBC source in here. So I don't know, but they give them
Benzing's like what the hell. So here's the thing that I think what would be interesting if they did. I don't know if Ground News does that, but if it shows like the source being like a PR company. So there's companies where you're able to like if you want to. If you have like a story you want to share and just propagate to many people, like you make a PR thing, like, and basically it's not real. It's not like, it's just like way to trick people to think it's like a real story. So that'll be kind of interesting if they start doing that because like Benzinga.
Never heard of Benzinga.
I haven't either, but that's the thing. There's news sources out here you've never even heard of.
Yeah.
Which, interesting. It's another way to source news to the top, I guess. For things you've never heard of. And then this one, in.gr, never heard of them either.
Yeah, it's all BS, basically. Don't invest your money in that stupid company. Just telling you right now. You have better chance of just throwing your money outside.
It's just buy lottery tickets. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. No, 100%. You'll get there faster.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us for this long. If I could ask you to do a couple things, please let a friend know about the podcast. You can leave us a review and a rating too. That would be amazing. You can also drop us an email to thenotnullpodcast@aol.com. We would love to see your recommendations, your nulls and your not nulls. That would be great. Send us an email and we'll read it out on the show. And we'll see everybody next week.